Hi everyone, today I'm talking about buying more shares in Boeing, and before I get into the video, thank you so much for smashing the like button on the last video. It was insane. It's the most likes I've ever got in 24 hours on a video, which also led to the most views in 24 hours that I've ever had on a video, so thank you so much for doing that. But today I'm going to cover buying more shares in Boeing, which I nearly fell off my chair when I saw it down at $90, and also I feel like Boeing is like one of the most searched stocks right now on YouTube. It's like the new Tesla really. So I'm going to be talking about why I bought more shares in Boeing at these sort of prices. Now I've kind of covered the bull case before in kind of Boeing, so I'm going to cover like most of the negative points today. And you know, not so long ago, I was really negative on Boeing. Like only 2 months ago, you can go back on my video, I say how bad Boeing was with the management side of it. All the problems stem from management. The Max 8, it all comes from management, poor management. And obviously that still has to be improved. It is not as good as where it should be for a company like Boeing, but it's on the way to improving, and a lot of that negativity is being priced into the stock. When the stock was only at $300 2 months ago, I was saying that the stock should be a lot lower. All that kind of has now got put into the price of the stock, and now the stock Boeing is absolutely crashed, absolutely loads. Now that made a buying opportunity for me, because in the long term I feel like this is good prices for Boeing. So I bought Boeing at $92.10, and when I invest into company I just have two mottos, and the two mottos are, will I make money? So when I invest in the company, what am I going to make from this? Because obviously when we were all doing this, when we're all investing into stocks, we're looking at the companies and we're going, when I buy this stock, how much money am I going to make on this? And over the long term, in 2 to 5 years, where do I see this stock? And when you kind of weigh where you see the stock and how much money you make is where you're going to see, is this a good purchase for you? If you don't believe Boeing is going to go up in value, then don't buy the stock. I'm buying Boeing because in 2 to 5 years I see this stock going up in price. I see this stock being a $300 stock, eventually $400 stock, and then pushing towards a $500 stock towards the end of the 2 to 5 year spectrum. So obviously Boeing has pretty much driven itself off a cliff, and it's down 77%, which is huge. There's no doubt about it. 77% is a huge decline, especially in kind of like Boeing, like one of the stocks that was always referred to as like the safe one to go to then go down 77% is a lot. Now, where most of this comes from is the negativity around the orders. Now, obviously, we've had the Max 8 and the poor management, and that's kind of already been factored in. That was still down at a $300 stock with all that in. And all this question comes around the orders and the negativity around the orders and airlines cancelling these orders. So the big thing I'm seeing right now is, the dividend cut, or is it going to go bankrupt? Now, dividend-wise, obviously, that has potential to get cut because of everything that's going on and Boeing needing to save cash. But long term, when things get back to normality, then obviously that Boeing should go back to where it is. But the bankrupt side is the interesting one. So I've seen a lot of people comment on, is Boeing going to go bankrupt? Now the first thing I'm going to say is that Boeing have a new $13 billion loan from the banks at the moment, which is a massive loan. And the great thing about this is that banks will be willing to give Boeing more money from here, because when they look at Boeing, they see it as a safe bet. Only a few months ago, they were a profit beast, and they know that when everything returns, Boeing will carry on making money and they'll be able to pay these loans off. And because they've already loaned Boeing so much money, they're not going to turn around now and go, you're not having any more money, because then the bank's going to lose all their money, and they know how much Boeing going bankrupt would affect the economy, GDP wise and jobs wise as well. So it's in the bank's interest as well to keep Boeing going, and they're probably more willing to give Boeing more money than anyone out there right now. As well as that, Boeing are already sitting on 10 billion cash, which is fantastic, which is a lot of money as well. So they've still got that money to burn through. Obviously the balance sheet was great. It's obviously not as good now, but it's still a really good balance sheet to have 10 billion on cash right there as well. Now Boeing still have got a lot of back orders to go through. I think it's somewhere like a 2 to 3 year back order. So they've still got this to go through, which obviously is a lot. And even if there's cancellations of orders, we should see the backlog or the orders at some point. We should see them return, and when the coronavirus starts recovering, then they should start returning as well. So it shouldn't be too long before, even if they start working through these back orders, that they start getting some added. And the thing as well with like Airbus, I'll touch on it a little bit, but Airbus is the only competitor as well, so they should get some more coming back at some point. And obviously there's the US government, which will also look after Boeing, because they obviously get a lot of military planes from them as well. So the US government don't want to see Boeing go bust, and they'll also lend them money. We've seen some things in the news that, you know, the Boeing have turned around and pretty much said to the US government, you know, we don't want your money. But if worse comes to worse, I'm sure they'll be accepting of, you know, US government coming in to back Boeing going forward. Like I say, they've got the US military, so that will look after Boeing, because the US government will still want the military planes. The big thing as well about the bankruptcy is the one competitor that they have, which is Airbus. So the US government want to keep Boeing open, and also because of there only being one competitor and Boeing have that moat, airlines are going to, you know, even the reputation has been damaged in Boeing, a lot of these airline companies are going to go, right, so we've got a 7-year waiting list on Airbus, we've got a, you know, 1-year waiting list on Boeing. Are we going to wait 7 years for our plane, or we're going to wait 1 year for our plane? And airplane companies will start returning to Boeing, because they're not going to go on that waiting list for Airbus that's so long, and eventually Boeing will start getting that reputation back and recapitalising on them orders. And obviously we've got the airline growth. Now obviously it's hard to see right now, but airlines are going to go back to normal after coronavirus, and they're going to carry on growing. We're going to have developing countries that are going to need planes as well, and they're going to be looking at planes to buy from either Airbus or Boeing. So the airline side of it as well will return. There will be growth. There'll be the developing countries that will need planes, companies that are airlines that have planes that need newer planes as well. So with the growth, with the companies that need planes replacing as well, and the developing countries that will start setting up a lot more airports out there, there's going to be a lot of demand for airplanes once this coronavirus passes in, 3-6 months, whatever you say. You know, airlines will get back to normal at some point, and all these airline companies, some might go bankrupt for sure, but a lot of them will survive, and eventually they'll return to normality where they start needing a lot of planes. And in that sort of case, Boeing will come back as a profit beast and be able to repay a lot of these loans off, get back to the dividend as well. So when I say at the start of the video, will I make money? Where's the stock going in 2 to 5 years? I see me making money on this stock in 2 to 5 years. I see a 200% upside, maybe 300, 400% upside. So I see a massive upside in this company. So when I see this company, do I feel the stock's going to go down from here? No, I see it going up from here. Sure, in the short term, it might go down a little bit more, but when I'm investing 2 to 5 years, a long-term investor, where do I see myself making money? Because that's my aim. I see myself making 200, 300% profit, and I see quite an easy profit here as well. So this is why I don't mind buying this stock, and if it's down these prices still, I'll probably buy some more, to be honest with you. And if I do, I'll probably make a video about it. So that's me talking about Boeing as well today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next video.